welcome to another episode of Out on a Limb podcast with Will, Allison, and Samantha. Okay,
so right. Hollywood Squares,
right.
You know, like, yeah.
We are recording this on Sunday, the 7th of April.
That's right.
One day before the eclipse. Oh yes. My gosh. So
Eclipse Apox or whatever
Eclipse Apocalypse.
Yeah.
Apocalypse.
Apocalypse.
Apocalypse. Yeah.
We're going to air this afterwards and we'll see
if our predictions come through.
What actually took place.
Yeah.
Like, what are some of these crazy predictions? Look, in 2017, a full solar eclipse came over South Carolina.
We had totality here in Charleston.
We were up on the lake.
I was in Cashers, North Carolina, and we had totality up there too.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of weird. It's far away.
So, but I don't remember now. I was only about 2 years into my awakening, but I do not remember all of this craziness about it.
Hubbub.
Right.
And it was the metaphysical. Now it's the metaphysical community all about it, and the mainstream all about it. It's crazy.
Well, but I think that, here's me. I always do devil's advocate. Damn it. But I think that because the world has gone so freaking wonky, and everybody's known that 2024 was going to be a shit show. We all knew it. And there's so much more to come, you know, it's like,
but wait, there's more.
Yeah. And so I think
that's so true.
But I think that there's, this expectation, like almost like it's I guess the kind of feeling I've gotten is that it's almost like it's like a ramp up, and then this is the kickoff to the rest of the craziness
in the metaphysical.
Yeah,
you mean,
right? Well, I mean, yes, but I mean, everybody's physically experiencing the nuttiness.
I think mainstream is using it as another fear-mongering tactic by talking about, stock up on, make sure your gas is full and make sure you have enough groceries and prepare. And several cities that are in the totality zone are talking about, there's going to be so many people, you better declare a state of emergency already. I mean, it's crazy. But I also think the metaphysical folks are using this as, okay, here we go. This is it. Now everything's going to happen. This is kind of like your savior. This is the event that's going to help everybody to evolve and change, and the planet's going to change. So I don't know.
Well, and even, so I was listening to Blossom Goodchild's thing on it. And, she asked her people, Federation of Light, she asked them, is this going to be one of those things that, 2 days later we're like, oh, that was a big nothing, kind of thing.
Right, a nothing burger.
Because, except, like there are things that are kind of astounding about it. The fact how it crosses over these two paths. But, like really cool, like it would be so cool to be there when all these locusts come out that only come out every so often.
You mean, the cicadas?
Then we have the locusts, the cicadas.
Yeah, is it the cicadas?
Two different
cicadas.
Okay.
2 batches of them.
I was listening to this one woman talking about the cicadas, and she said, do you realize when they're rubbing themselves together, making that noise, that they are the most vociferous because they're loud, but also
melodious?
No, they urinate incredibly. And when you're walking in the forest and they're doing their thing, have you ever walked in the forest and felt a little bit of
remind me not to walk in the forest when the cicadas are out.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Lord have mercy.
It's the thing.
If you can't tell, by the way, today's topic is stream of consciousness. I think number 3, stream of consciousness. We're starting off with the eclipse. Pro tip: don't walk.
Don't walk in the woods when the cicadas are out. So
well, okay, so and our good friend Laura Eisenhower, she was talking about it, and they were bringing several things to light that, again, these are very unusual kinds of occurrences, all sort of happening at once.
All combining together.
And I can't speak with any semblance of being able to regurgitate and make any sense of it. So trust me, you just need to go listen to her thing. But she was interviewing someone who was talking about the significance of it. I mean, it took him an hour to get there, and I had a very hard time following.
Wasn't that the one that was in 2 parts?
Yes.
And it's on Rumble.
Yeah. So it was the second part that I guess I was listening to. And the guy is amazing to listen to, but it's just very, when you're, I was saying, astrologers, they have astrologer speak.
Yes.
And they assume a certain level of knowledge and understanding already.
Yeah. And so they'll talk about nodes and things like that. And we're all just kind of going, us lay people,
eyes are rolled back in the
we're
head,
just kind of going, we're just struggling to go, yes, we understand.
I'm calling out my friend Suzanne again, because she's so good at explaining it in layman's terms.
Oh, yes. See, that's amazing.
That's 2 episodes, Suzanne, that I've called you out.
But see, like our good friend Lori mentioning you, because you're not going to be here tonight.
Oh, so Lori, yeah.
But she'll sit there and I'll go, Lori, stop. You got to tell me the significance.
Right.
Because you're saying, well, this is significant because the nodes are doing this or whatever. And I'm looking at her going, so anyway, getting back to the point of why I brought it up was that, like he was talking about, and I've heard a couple of astrologers from different places talking about this, which is why it draws my attention. But something about that there's possibly a hidden planet that we don't see unless there's an eclipse.
Would it be Narubi?
It was something. It was something about. It's not further out though. They're saying it's planet between
Nibiru.
They're saying it's between us, I believe, the Earth and the Sun. Oh. Like it's not, like there's Mercury, Venus, Mars. I guess between Mars and Venus.
I've never heard that.
It was really, and I could have this so wrong. So you have to go listen to it. Like I said, I'm bad at regurgitating, but I remember because they brought up the Nibiru thing, but Planet it wasn't that. It was, I don't believe it was that. And then there was another concept they brought up about in evidence of it that, they're saying like they're something about, so this will be interesting because you guys are going to be listening to this after the fact, whether there was the moon that's like in front of the sun. And so you have that, the bright ring around it, but they were like, but there was going to be something else that was going to make it so you wouldn't see the bright ring. And the only way that could happen is if there was another planet, So like there were all these interesting things, but there was like mathematical evidence supporting all of this, which was what was fascinating. But he was going so fast, and I am not a math whiz, but he at least like, he had graphics.
Yeah.
So he was going, looking at this, and this is how he was coming up with the calculation. So it's really actually quite fascinating.
So this was the interview that Laura Eisenhower did with,
and I'm so sorry
on Rumble, and it's not too far down. It wasn't too far down when I looked today.
Yeah. But, it's a part 2. It definitely was the part 2. And the gentleman's very interesting. It's just that he goes
so deep,
so fast. And I think, a lot of Laura's stuff is for the initiated, the people who really kind of have a better understanding and stuff. So
we'll see if this eclipse is all that in a bag of chips, like they say it will be.
Yeah. I mean,
at least a chocolate chip cookie. Come on, give me something.
I mean, it's just, to me, it is interesting. I just saw something earlier this morning. I think it was from Ohio, and I don't know. It was the Emergency Management Center from Ohio. They were putting out to their citizens to be prepared, and they ran down this list of preparedness things to do before the eclipse tomorrow. And I'm thinking to myself, we live in South Carolina, where they have hurricanes, and they put out preparedness warnings for hurricanes at the beginning of hurricane season. And it's not as in depth of what they put out for Ohio. And I'm thinking to myself,
it's
an eclipse lasting 4 minutes tops.
Right. It's an eclipse.
Yeah.
Now, again, this might not ever air because who knows, maybe the planet will burst into flames and this one will just be on my hard drive somewhere and we won't be here. But if it does, and you're seeing this, well, I too made it through the eclipse. So
we marked ourselves safe from the eclipse.
That's right.
Yeah, so, you literally did that on Facebook.
I didn't do it. No, I saw that. I saw somebody post the meme.
It's too early to mark yourself safe from the eclipse.
I think they put it, mark themselves safe from the eclipse propaganda.
Yeah, propaganda.
Yeah, so... but yes, NASA is going to be sending 8 rockets up into the space tomorrow.
And something about CERN.
And CERN is coming online.
Okay. And so, but that is interesting. Why would CERN, out of all the dates they could have picked, but they picked it because it is momentous, because it is, okay.
Or maybe that's just maybe that was already pre-planned in years ahead on the calendar.
No, but they would know that there was these things. They know when it's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, and wouldn't it be interesting? Maybe it'll give us an extra boost with whatever it is that we're doing.
Don't discount the earthquakes that just took place in New Jersey. Yeah.
Oh my God, my mom is just like, well, if it happened in my mom doesn't watch these. She's like, if this happened in New York, it's happening down here next. Well. And all know
that was exactly what I said. I said, well, if it's happening in New Jersey, how soon before Charleston has a big one?
Because we're on a huge fault line.
We are on a huge fault line.
It's
1891, Charleston was struck by a 7.6 earthquake and pretty much leveled the entire city of Charleston.
And one of right now, also in the news, is one of the volcanoes. Is it in Italy?
Vesuvius.
No.
Yes.
Is putting wait. It's not erupting.
No, yet. It's putting out smoke rings.
Perfect smoke rings.
Yes.
Perfect smoke rings.
Okay, so I've been to Pompeii.
Yes.
And
Natalie, is that the one?
Natalie has too.
Yes. Oh wow.
And walking down those streets.
Yes.
You talk about
eerie. Isn't that wild?
It is the craziest thing. And I just kept looking up at the mountain going, how did they walk down these roads and see that mountain doing that stuff and not. Now, I don't want it to erupt because I don't want it to mess up all of the excavation they have done such a brilliant job. And it's like,
but it's eerie
magnified since I've been there, all the stuff they've done.
Yeah.
Like just crazy.
Natalie was there last summer and took a bunch of pictures and said,
to me, that whole story is just eerie.
Yeah, the whole thing. So it's seriously putting out
smoke rings. Yes.
Has the one in Iceland stopped yet?
Nope. That's still going.
Yeah. So, I mean,
wow.
So so let's call it like the earth is going through all of these shifts and changes. So and we've got the solar flares that are hopefully, I heard yesterday that the thing that's been putting out a lot of the flares is starting to turn away from Earth. So that we're
going to be in a little lull for a while.
Yeah, I hope so. But anyway, so there's you've got all of these things going. So kind of in essence, why wouldn't you sit there and say, that could cause some geomagnetic?
Sure. No, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, if you've got the sun and the moon in perfect alignment and they're creating an eclipse, of course, there's going to be an extra strong pull on the planet. I mean, that's just the way.
Well, just think all the little critters coming out of the ground right there. That just messes up the balance.
Yeah.
It's revelation. I'm telling you.
Well, but the thing is, it sure is. I mean, it's following along all of that, which kind of makes you go,
Makes you go,
If we see 4 horsemen come down the street.
Oh no, then I
lock the door.
I will poo in my pants. It'll just be done.
It is interesting, and it's very coincidental that all of these things are taking place. And now, you in the viewing audience, you might be saying, "Well, Will, you're a trance channel. You probably know exactly what's taking place." And
is that what they're saying?
I don't know, but that's what I'm guessing they're saying.
But we did channel about it.
Well, we did, but you shouldn't. You shouldn't be such a naysayer. You have to understand. I'm a skeptic. Even though I do all of this work, I keep a very healthy dose of skepticism in everything that I do.
And what did we say? We cross-reference?
That's right. Yes. So yes, we have channeled about the eclipse, and we've channeled about some of the other things that have been taking place, and they have been correlated with other channels and other practitioners out there that have been bringing through information. So I can't discount what's come through, but I still have a nice, healthy dose of.
But I want to say real quick, if you haven't watched the messages from the collective from March, I believe March was when we asked about the eclipse, and they talked about the difference between the one in 2017 and this one, because they had 2 different purposes. And the collective explained it. And I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was like 2017 was the opening of the earth for this energy. And then 2024 is something else altogether. So there is a difference between the two, and the intent, and they said it in March. So go back and listen to that. It's fascinating.
Well, I mean, and think about it, like the collective conscious of like, we are creator beings. We're all creating the hysteria or the whatever, or the, so in a way we're kind of guiding the expectation or the experience or the timeline reality or whatever you want to say that we're on, that we want to experience. So who's to say that, like, maybe some people are going to experience some kind of devastation because that is
what they're expecting.
But I think that the majority of people who are either naysayers, like they just don't care, whatever, they're so jaded by all of the news. By this point, they just don't care.
Right.
Or, light workers, spiritual people who are sitting there going, bring it on. This is good. All of this is good, and thinking of the positive. I mean, I can say for me, since, what was it? The lunar eclipse that occurred, my life has been, the energy that has been coming in has been a literal shit show for me. Wow. I've been all over the place going, what is going on with my body? Why am I feeling this way? What the hell is happening? How much of this is real? How much of it is, and it's not just there was cramping and weirdness and all this kind of stuff, but head spinning. I was doing a channeling for someone the other day, and he may be watching this. And so now you'll know, I don't know if he saw a weird expression on my face, but I'm doing a channeling. It's conscious channeling, but my eyes are shut and I'm very sat back in it. And I'm feeling my lip just doing this shaking thing. And I'm going, what the hell is going on there? And I can't bring my hands up. Like, it just doesn't work. I'm just sitting there like this. And, but and at one moment I thought I was going to pass out during the middle of the channeling. Wow. So it's like all of this stuff going on. But today, I don't know why today, because the eclipse is tomorrow. So I would think, I can't wait for this eclipse to be over with.
Right.
There has been all this weird energy. So there is something going on.
Sure.
But today, all of a sudden, I felt more balanced. And I remember on my drive up here, I had a shift.
Oh.
And I don't know what it was, but it was like this feeling of, when you have shifts, it can come a lot of different ways. This one is this thing where it's just like, okay, it's all good. Wow. My energy I can just stop and be stable and just breathe slowly and calmly, like right in this moment. It just, all the hysteria, all the stuff I felt. And it's not to say I won't necessarily still feel things, but I'm kind of going, what's tomorrow going to bring? Am I going to have this sudden open awareness? Because it was just weird to go through this suddenly.
Nice. Good. Yeah, I'm glad. Because you have
something positive. Jesus.
You had some rough stuff going on.
Yeah. I called Allison about it because I was so freaked out.
Yeah. But I wanted to bring up another couple of topics. Let's see here.
Okay.
We did a pet update show not too long ago, remember? And our friend Wendy, I'm going to call her out. She is like an amazing animal person out in Montana.
Yep.
And she sent me a really nice, detailed email that I wanted to share because we didn't.
Does she have the horses?
She does not have horses.
She does dog rescues.
A lot of dog stuff. Aww. Big dogs.
Big dogs, yeah.
So we're talking about Great Danes?
We talked about the health of animals. No, not that kind. The big hairy Malamute.
No. I forget what. Okay. And Wendy's probably going to be like, come on, guys.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Plug my rescue.
Oh, Great Pyrenees. I think.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
I think it's Great Pyrenees
Rescue.
Yep. So great.
Thanks, Wendy. I got it.
Yep.
Anyway, she said she gave us a couple of really good health.
Only now. Sorry, go ahead.
Health tips. And I wanted to share with the viewers because we did talk about animals and their health and all of that. And I just want to make sure for our audience that we're clear on a few things. Okay. So we talked about neutering, evidently. This was a while back, so I don't remember. But she said, don't neuter too early. It's bad for their health. So if you are going to neuter, right? And then we were talking about cats spraying, I think, during that episode. Weren't we? With the males spraying?
With mine. Yeah. Did we get anywhere?
So she said, like, this is just general knowledge. Okay. She said cats spray when they feel insecure most of the time. So, and also to establish boundaries or dominance. So that's typically their issue.
Yeah. Oh. So we really need to off one of the cats or something. Is that the message I'm getting?
No.
Sorry.
She also said to go ahead and feed your older cat all the wet food that it wants or that you can, because it's really good for their coat. They are carnivores and they get most of their moisture from meat. See, I didn't quite realize that because that's our one cat who's older and isn't grooming and is getting a lot of mats is still drinking quite a lot. So I thought that was okay, but evidently they need the wet food.
Well, I actually I'll add a little bit more water. Like, okay, so we'll give like half the can of food distribute, between the two cats. And so then the next day it's refrigerated. And so, Rob does not nuke it. I do, because I want it to be warm. I don't want to serve them. He's like, well, they find, dead mice and eat them. And I'm kind of going, this is like cold food. Right. So I'll like maybe nuke it a little bit, but I'll put a little bit of water in it.
Just to give it a little extra.
Hydrate it. Yeah. Because I'm thinking any which way I can get liquids into these guys. Yeah. Good point. Fountains, pet fountains. That is the reason why, you should do pet fountains, because they love the running water. I mean, cats are very finicky, but that is the best way to get them to drink water.
Good point.
They like,
we had one a while back, but we haven't. You
might want to consider doing that again, because it makes all the difference. Yeah.
All right. She also said I did not know this. They like to drink away from where they eat, like even in a different room. That boggles my mind.
Now, is this cats and dogs?
I think she was just saying cats.
I would not doubt that. I know, I've always known, don't have their litter near their food.
You're
like,
right.
That's just kind of like insulting. It's like, you don't, but the water thing is interesting.
Isn't it?
Maybe we'll have to change things up.
I like to, if I'm eating, to drink right after. So it helps it go down.
So you're personifying?
Yes, I am. I'm assuming that cats should do exactly what I want. Yeah. All right. She also said, don't over vaccinate. And after the kitten shots, you can get a titer to confirm that they're still covered. And I would say, particularly if they're indoor,
a titer
to tell if they have antibodies or whatever.
Basically, they just pull a blood sample and check it for the antibodies and stuff. Yeah.
Well, people do over vaccinate. And I get the whole rabies things, but they push the rabies vaccination, even if your cat's an indoor cat. And they're like, but what if the cat gets out? And it's like, well, that's the risk I'm going to take.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, in a lot of states, you have to have rabies. It's the law. So we're not telling you to break the law. We're just saying that if you have an indoor cat, they probably don't need as many vaccinations.
Right.
Do what you want.
But the rabies one, if the cat got out, it would have to bite somebody. And that's liability for you, right?
The cat would have to get bitten, infected with rabies.
No, it's not protecting the cat, right? It's protecting the human, isn't it?
No, your cat.
Or is it protecting the cat from getting rabies? I always thought it was
the cat from getting rabies. If the cat is out and a raccoon jumps them, and the raccoon has rabies, then all of a sudden your cat's going to remember the whole Cujo thing.
Oh, okay. I got that mixed up.
Yeah. It's okay. You're human.
Okay. Pet update out of the way. What else do we want to talk about?
Well, no, I've got another pet one, and I did not know this until I was fostering cats, and it was like one of the saddest experiences I went through. Is that a lot of vet techs when they working at shelters and things like that. And I'm not saying this is like bad. I'm not throwing them under the bus. It's just they're not trained, but it has been discovered that and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but this is what I've been told, what I've learned and pay attention to. If a cat is given a vaccination too high up on the haunches, the body, is it too high up? Like on the back area. Mm-hmm. The body, it's like, it's putting it too close to something. It's doing something. It's kind of like a no zone area. Like, don't do that. The cat will end up getting cancer, almost
really?
Like a high probability of them getting cancer. And I learned that because the first cat that I fostered, and I had such an incredible connection with the woman, Mary Elias, who rescued the cat and then took the cat in afterwards when I couldn't convince my family to keep the cat. We did keep one of the progeny of the cat because they wanted the kitten, but I was like, we should keep the mom. Well, the mom ended up getting cancer. Oh. And sure enough, that spot where she'd been vaccinated was up too high. And
how did you find out that it was up too high?
Well, Mary's a rescue person. She sees this stuff like all the time. And I don't know if she heard about it or deduced it, but she would pay attention to it. And she's like always telling the vet techs, make sure that you're being careful where you shoot. Because people think, oh, I'm just going to shoot it in there, Wow. But apparently it's somewhere because you're doing it back by the haunches, which maybe if you did it lower, that's the leg, right? So there's room for it to spread out.
Yeah.
But if you're doing it up higher, that's closer to maybe the kidneys.
The spine or
yeah. I mean, it's closer to vital organs. You wouldn't sit there and you don't ever do a vaccination in the vital organs.
Yeah.
So it's closer up into that area.
Well, that's helpful. Very helpful information. I had no idea.
Yeah. It's just a good thing to know that, it's not like you go and you adopt a cat and you say, well, where are the vaccinations occur?
Right.
But asking them to be, you bring your fresh little kitten in and just say, can
so
you be
really,
I
always thought it had to be in the meaty portion of the
leg.
Yeah, the leg.
Same as you would do it up here on a person. You wouldn't do it right here. You wouldn't do it by the liver because
or you're like somewhere up here on your back. It's always like in the buttocks or.
But think with a cat, like you're trying to get it into the leg, and it's just
there isn't much there
down there, and they could go up higher, like you said, towards the spine or where the kidneys.
You know what? Tomorrow I'm going to get another email from Wendy, probably giving me more clarity on all of this stuff.
Yeah, please do, because that was like crazy sad, and I don't think that Mary would have said that unless there had been a preponderance of it that she's personally witnessed.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. I have a couple of other topics. What do you guys have? Anything? What do you want to chat about?
Well, I kind of blew it out with the
eclipse stuff.
With the eclipse. I figured that would take an hour. No. Okay. I know. I want to talk about the solar flares.
Oh,
okay.
Because you've been getting blasted, haven't you?
Yeah. I mean, you guys are both just going, okay, ramp that one up. Where am I? Have we paid attention to it lately? So I've been following this guy, Jason something or other. Just really
not Estes, is it?
Is that him? Yeah. On Jason Instagram?
Might probably, but
yeah. Anyway, he I was kind of like, who is this guy at first? And yet he is like, he's growing on me. He's really growing on me. And he does these solar flare updates, and he explains this is where it's coming from.
No, wait. That's not the suspicious observer guy.
No.
Okay, good.
No. He has kind of a
we've talked about him
voice.
before. Do you see him or do you just listen to him?
No, you see him.
So he's kind of a petite guy with dark hair, and he's in Dallas area or Texas somewhere.
I can't remember, maybe.
Usually looks like he's in his bedroom.
No.
At a desk in his bedroom.
No, not at all. And this guy, what I like about it is he keeps saying, hey, don't worry about this. I'm just giving you updates, just telling you what the sun's doing. This is how it might be affecting your body. This is the difference in what's been going on, but don't freak out about it. If it's bothering you, reach out to me. We can talk about it. Don't let money become a thing, just reach out, just talk, and we'll just talk you through it, and it's all good.
Wow.
And so he just has this, I love it because I was not expecting when I first watched him and heard his voice and everything. And I just thought, this is like an ex, coach kind of,
right.
kind of guy. And then I'm hearing all the markers that I want to hear from a spiritual person, about this kind of stuff. And not to freak out, to discernment, all that kind of. Anyway, so he's been, I don't follow that many people, so he pops up a lot for me. And so it's become like a daily thing or whatever. And he was talking about like it went from X class, which is you said was the highest, to M, which is the next rung down or whatever, as far as the flares coming out. And he's like, relax, take a break, get sleep because it's about to ramp up again. And I'm like, well, that's interesting. Well, we had gone out to cover a wine and food festival, my husband and I, who's a professional photographer, and we'd gone out. We were out in the sun. And I put on tons of sunscreen. My daughter, I had the sunscreen, she forgot, poor thing. But we're out in the sun, and I find out at the end of the day that there's been X-class, a huge X-class solar flare on that day. And I'm like, well, that's interesting. And because I knew I wasn't feeling right, like something was different. I didn't feel dehydrated. I just didn't feel right.
Right. And
then the next day, I'm just telling my husband, and this has been kind of going on for a little bit. And I was like, it's too people-y. I can't go to the family gathering. I told him, I said, I'll go. But I said, literally, I want you to understand. And I was just saying this, not to be like whiny, but I was like, imagine a cat and you're trying to get the cat out of something and the cat puts its legs out.
Yeah.
That's you pulling me out of the car. But I was like, but I wanted to see everybody.
Yeah.
So I was willing to go. And so we go and I sit in a far corner. I just couldn't handle people.
Yep.
And I couldn't eat anything. And he's like, yeah, maybe I'm picking this up from you and having sympathy pains or something. And the next, that morning is when I could hear him hurling in the bathroom. And I just gotten over stomach flu 2 weeks before. And so I'm like, oh, it's got to be stomach flu. And we went with that, but he went from bad to worse super quick and ended up being in the hospital for ketoacidosis. So it was a whole other thing.
Wow.
But interestingly enough, it seems to all come down to, like, they kept trying to fill him full of potassium. And the whole time I'm sitting there going, God, what is going on here? Magnesium, potassium, getting the salts in there. And I'm like, well, that's like dehydration. But he had been drinking a lot of water, he thought.
Yeah.
Neither of us had gotten like wasted, like, drunk a lot of the wine there. I had a little bit, but I kept kind of forgetting to drink. It was a really weird kind of, it was not the normal. But anyway, so he was in the hospital for several days and we're on our way home and he starts reading the printouts they gave about potassium. And I've been going through all kinds of things in my body. Like, my body has just it's been such a freaky week.
Yeah.
And everything he's describing, I'm sitting there going, I know this is about you, but it's not about you. This is all about me now because I'm hearing all of this stuff.
Yes.
So we go home and I take one of his potassium pills and I rubbed magnesium lotion into my legs. And all of a sudden, like, I'd had a headache and everything, and it had been riding me for days. All of a sudden, I'm feeling great. And I'm like, okay. So I was out there in that, and I was kind of okay before. I mean, I was feeling run down before, but being out there in the sun, with the plasma rays, like the thing is, it gets you whether you're in the sun or not.
Yes.
But when you're sitting in their sun, for 6 hours going, bring it on. And the thing is, I was in shade, but I'm still out, it was insane. And then Allison said something about you were having issues with electrolytes too.
Well, not so much, but it
had something to do with potassium or magnesium.
So this was about a month ago. And I don't know if we talked about it on one of the podcasts, but I know internally with our group that we did, where I was going through a shift where I was having really high blood pressure, high pulse rates, and it was like nothing that I did could get it down. I mean, literally just sitting here in the chair and I could take a couple deep breaths and my pulse would be at like 110. It was just the weirdest thing. And
there are people out there going, I would love if my pulse.
Right, exactly. But so I was going through kind of a list of different things, and potassium was one of them that potentially I needed. So I literally got myself a container of potassium powder, and I take a half a teaspoon every morning, and I put it in some pomegranate juice. And so a half a teaspoon equates to 1,000 milligrams of potassium.
And we're not telling anyone out there to take that.
We're not telling.
He was
doing. This is purely for me. And when I do some research, they say on average, your daily intake of potassium should be somewhere around, what was it, like 4,700 milligrams.
A lot. It was quite a lot.
It seemed really, really high to me. So I was taking that, and within a day or so, everything just.
It's amazing how good you feel.
Yeah. It just leveled out. My blood pressure went back down. My heart rate went back down. Now here's how, like, we've talked about the contrast between myself and Allison. So mine averages between between 78 and 84. Allison just recently went to the doctor, and she texted me. She said, my pulse rate is 45. Oh, wait, no, 47.
No, you'd be dead.
That's hers constantly. It's like 40.
I have a very low pulse.
And I always look at her and I say, you're 47 beats away from being dead. I mean,
my resting pulse is literally 45 to 50 all the time.
Yes, all the time.
In fact, I think it went down to 44 while I was sitting.
How do you have the energy to do anything? Like, I just would think that would.
I don't know. It's the strangest.
Because I'm an elite athlete. That's why. I'm joking.
So I do everything in my power to keep my pulse, at a normal pace. And yet she does absolutely nothing. And hers is like it's just barely alive.
Genetics.
It is.
But anyway, the bottom line was to check your potassium and magnesium levels. Well, it's in case.
Checking, your mineral salts, period.
Yeah.
Like I did a deep dive down
micronutrients and all that.
Yeah, magnesium lane there. And for me, I didn't realize that. I mean, they're all important, but like magnesium's involved in almost every process of your body. It's like if you're short on that, and I find I've been really focused on my gut health, and my eating has radically changed because of it. Like sometimes I can taste something sweet and just think, this is gross.
Yeah.
Like my body has just shifted so much. And I haven't been eating much. And I think because I haven't been eating much, and I haven't been eating the stuff that has enriched supplement stuff in it.
Yes.
I think my body's just kind of going, whoa, wait, okay. Cause I'm not a potato eater. I don't generally eat bananas because I always worried about, how that would affect me weight loss wise. Mm-hmm. Well, now my body's kind of going, okay,
you need some of that stuff.
You're not eating this stuff anymore. So you need to go into the polar diet now.
Yeah.
So, just saying, when you go to get yourself healthy, then you have to turn around and refashion everything you're doing, because your body's got to pull, it's got to readjust where it's getting its nutrients.
Yeah. So for myself, I've gotten on a regimen of, and I forgive me if I can't remember the brand. I think it's Yogi, but I've been using their dandelion detox, and I find that has actually been helping with my gut issues as far as keeping it healthy. Mm-hmm. And then I mixed that recently because myself and Allison we both been going through a upper respiratory thing. And I've introduced one of their immune Zoom products, which has got a bunch of other elderberries in there and echinacea and all kinds of stuff. And that mixture. So I brewed both of those teas together. Mm-hmm. And then what's the red flower that they use for tea? And I can't think of the name of it. Hibiscus. Thank you. With some hibiscus. And then when that's done seeping, I pour it over honey and cayenne pepper.
Oh,
yes, and then about a half a lemon squeezed into that, and it's so good.
Okay,
it's so good.
So now what I do when I have a cough is I brew up peppermint tea.
Yeah,
and I put a little honey in it, and I put vodka in it.
Is it the peppermint or is it the vodka?
Because the vodka. It opens up your blood vessels, and the peppermint gets in there, and you will feel your body like your
pepperminty fresh.
Like it warms up, and you'll start your nose will start running and everything. It's actually, and it doesn't really take that much vodka.
Yeah, just enough,
if you do more than you should, you'll know when it's too much, because it's diminishing returns, whatever.
Yeah.
So it really doesn't take that much to open you up. So yours is a very holistic approach as opposed to mine. But my mom's always said, you don't waste. People have orange juice to help them feel better.
Yeah.
And she's like, you don't waste good orange juice when you could throw vodka in there and have a screwdriver. So
that's funny. And the reason we're on this whole topic is because obviously I still have a cold and I've had periodic coughing fits. So we're going to try to get through this episode. But there were two other things that I wanted to bring up from client sessions that were fascinating.
Wow. Yep. Okay.
One was, we're curious about this whole ascension process. We know that we're evolving, and at some point there are going to be waves of ascension, and we're going to raise our vibration into the 5D. People want to know, does that mean that my body's going to heal? Is everything just going to get better and no more aches and pains, things healing? Is it instantaneous? Well, no, but
spoiler alert.
Right, spoiler alert. Sorry, no.
But it was fascinating. Here's what this higher self said, and it was really nice. As we move forward towards and through ascension.
Do you want me to read that? Or are you going to be okay?
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, it's just your cough. Okay.
Yeah, I think I'll be all right. As we move forward towards and through ascension, this energetic support system, this unified consciousness field, this is going to help ease many of these disease states, many of the things that afflict the human body. They'll be lessened, but not eliminated. You will become more relaxed and comfortable with how to understand your physicality so that it can be healed. So the unified field will not heal all things. It'll just prepare the physicality, the human consciousness, and the thought process, aligning it with the energetic divine so that the healing process can then take place much quicker.
So that
makes
means
sense.
You can't still go eating a ton of Lucky Charms and expect your body to be able to go, it's chill with it. I love that concept. And that makes, to me, like, I was wondering what you were going to say, what was, what their information was, but that to me makes like that resonate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because of course you would have a more of an understanding and that awareness, that give and take, because this is a physical experience we're having.
Right. And my guess is you're not going to want to eat Lucky Charms once your body understands and is awake.
Well, and I think that's part of what
we'll let you know when we get there.
Yeah. But I think that's part of what I'm going through. It's just like my eating has, granted, I've healed, I'm healing my gut, but it's just this, there's something else going on there, because my choice between, well, I could have a hamburger or a beet salad.
Yeah.
I'm going for the beet salad. It's bizarre.
It's no, that's
the choices change.
It's really, I'll say that's more of a really an aligning aspect.
Yeah.
You're vibrationally aligning and attuning to the, not only the energetic needs, but the physical needs.
Yeah.
And when they come into balance, that burger that once really felt good or tasted great or whatever, well, yeah, that's here, but here, the beet salad is like, that's what we want right now.
Yeah.
And I'm
not ready to give up being a carnivore though.
Hey, but
I could go both ways now.
So in my journey, I did that for a better part of 2 years, completely followed suit with Allison and did the whole plant-based vegan thing. But I could tell my body's like, dude, you need some meat protein. Your body requires meat protein. So I slowly integrated that back in at certain times.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So what was the second one?
And the second one is about eye color. Did you know that eye color actually has meaning deeper than what we would believe? So we had a client that asked about eye color.
It's all where you grew up and originated from. Yeah.
So eye color, and also specifically,
wow.
What do they call it? Albinoism.
Yeah. Albinoism. Yes. Yes.
Has a meaning. Okay. So albinos, animals or humans, have light eyes, like pink, right? I think it's pink.
Rabbits and rats.
Yeah.
So what the higher self said was, the lighter the eye color, the higher the frequency that you attenuate to, the higher the frequency that you allow in, and the higher the frequency that you're assigned in realms that are closer to source. It is understanding that it isn't just a color. Your eye color is not just a color, random. It's a representation of all that has been lived in the past through this divine DNA alignment. And it is understanding the power that stands behind the color. The color is the filter by which you align to that divine source that you're ultimately connected to.
So it doesn't mean that you're better or higher or whatever. It just means that is what you're choosing to align to in a given lifetime.
I don't know exactly. There's lots of follow-up questions that we could ask.
We could go, Hitler would have loved this bit of information, don't you know?
Good point.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying there's a lot that could be, okay, we need to
delve into that
and tear this one apart, because I find it like it raised so many questions.
Does it mean that blue-eyed people are better than brown-eyed people? What do you have? And you got blue.
Oh, I got blue eyes.
Mine are green, I think.
Yeah.
Well, what does green mean then? Well, that's less than blue.
The point is that eye color has some kind of meaning.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I get that. Well, we're picking so many particular whatevers when we come into this lifetime so that we can have the experience we want to have, whether it's the color of your skin or where you're born or the location of whatever. It's all, where the stars and moon are at the time you're born, giving you characteristics.
Right.
There's so much defining that. So it just never occurred to me, like with eye color and stuff, that it would be.
Right.
And who did we do who did the iridology?
Oh, Amy.
You can watch her show. We interviewed Amy Gillespie Doherty. Fascinating stuff about eye color.
All these questions that we've had that we've been going, oh, remember this podcast? We should ask these questions of each of these individuals and come back and do another, like not a stream of consciousness, but a follow-up to the stream of consciousness of all the things we put out there. A stream
of consciousness of the stream of consciousness.
Yeah.
I mean, some are, we could call them follow-up episodes.
Yeah.
Some of these are follow-up things, but
that's fascinating.
Right. But the whole healing thing is nice because when you're doing Reiki, that's what we say is we're not healing you. We are creating the conditions under which your body can heal itself. So in other words, you're basically raising the frequency or attenuating the frequency basically to the divine.
Yep.
So that then the physicality can relax, like he said, relax and allow its repair system to start.
It's like, we just did an episode on energy, and it's like I can connect into the feeling of that and feel peace at this moment. Like that's what's really cool. Like when you start really working on this stuff and being aware of it, and once you know what a feeling is, and just to be able to slip into that,
right, and to know what resonates, what rings true to you.
Yep.
Ooh. Well, that was a fun romp again. Yes. I love streams of consciousness because we can just ramble. And go off on these rabbit holes and tangents. If you haven't already done so, hit that thumbs up button for us because it really helps to get this out into more people's view. And continue with the comments. We'd love it. If you have anything that you heard that was fascinating, share. Share this podcast with others.
Comment below. And correct us. Don't be afraid. You can, put your 2 cents in, and we can only tell you the things that we know, or like with me, what I can recall.
Right. We are nowhere to be found to be the utmost experts at any of this.
Absolutely not.
Just bring it to you and share it through our set of eyes.
And we tell you what works for us.
That's right.
Only us. And you got to figure out, do your research. And because we did research to do what we're doing. So,
and triangulate. If you hear something 2, 3, 4 times, then you're probably on the right track.
Yep.
But until next time, thank you for spending time with us on Out on a Limb podcast.
See you guys.